Okay, this is Spiritual Psychic Cynthia Killian again, and that didn't work too well trying to flip the camera around in my last video, so this is actually part 2 of your how-to on how to do a fall reset and realignment reading. And Tammy, this is your reading. You're the one I'm demoing on, and I wanted everybody to be able to see the cards, and so now you can see it, but not me. But I just want to hone in on the reading here for a moment, and then I'll flip it around and we'll actually do the reading. You can see it's a little bit of a messy cross, but you can see here's position 1 in the cross. And this is what needs to be released or resolved, basically. So you're asking yourself the question, when you're doing this reading or you're asking this for another person, what is it that I need to grieve, release, resolve, or let go of before moving forward? So in other words, this is what is behind you, what could actually be holding you back. So that needs to be addressed and recognized. It needs to be brought to the surface, so to speak. This is position 2 here. And again, today I'm reading on the Ascended Masters deck by Doreen Virtue. I actually have my own card deck that I've created, and I could have used that. Maybe I will next time. But as I said before, I really like to work with the tarot usually when I do these in-depth readings. But I know not everyone watching this who wants to learn this technique can read the tarot, so I'm using very easy to work with oracle cards. So in position 2 here, this is you now, okay? And that is, or the client now, the person I'm reading for. So this is representing Tammy now. And the question with that is something like, well, basically, what am I experiencing right now? What is the state of the energy, or maybe even what do I need to experience right now? This is position number 3 for Tammy today. And whatever card, or if you're using rune stones or whatever, whatever card is in that position is going to be telling you what it is you need to be focusing on completing, achieving, or harvesting, because this is the fall, right? So it's about the harvest, the completion. So you can kind of see just right down the middle here where number 1 card is down at the bottom of the pillar, and this is, what's behind you, or sort of what the root is, where you're coming from, and what you need to release and let go of. This is where you're at now, so this is the center. You are at the center, as Louise Hay would always say, the point of power is in the present moment. So now is in the center. And at the top, it's sort of where you're heading towards, or where you should be heading towards, what you should be focusing on for your best and highest good. So 1, 2, 3, if you're following along and want to do a reading with this instruction. And then this is position number 4. So as you're laying out your cards, 4 goes to the right. And there's a reason for that in this spread that I've created, because this is your right-hand man, as I like to think about it. And it happens to be Baba G here. Wow, what a great right-hand man. Yeah, that's awesome. But what I mean by that is position number 4 is where you're asking yourself in this fall reset reading, what or who will be my main ally and helper with bringing in this harvest? So who are your allies? What are your possible sources of support? And then over here on the left-hand path, and this would be card number 5, is what are your challenges, or obstacles? What do you need to look out for? So again, it's position number 5. And in position number 6, and you just go straight up from 5 to get there, you have, I guess you'd say, what is the likely outcome of the situation currently? Or I like to think of it as the dominant energy theme, the dominant energy pattern, because there's really no final outcome really on planet Earth, because then you just go to the other side. So every situation, has one outcome that just leads to a next. So, but anyway, that is sort of looking at maybe the dominant energy theme for the fall, or for whatever period you're doing this reading for. And then because this is a fall realignment reading, we have a 7th position over here, which is 1 up from position number 4. And I'll go through this one more time on the layout so you can see it. And that 7th position is really important. It's not the final outcome, actually. it's a question we're asking about what you can do to help best build and strengthen your energy for the next season ahead. Because, let's see if I can flip this around. Yeah, I don't know if it'll let me do that. I'll try pausing again. Okay, no flip around, so you'll just have to look at the cards from here on out, unless I want to do a third video. So the deal is that in the fall, one of the things that we're doing here is we are building up our energy reserves to help us get through winter. And here you see my lovely Kuan Yin. She's helping me with the reading in the garden today. And the energies of fall are such that there's still some strong and robust energies, but basically the energizing, mobilizing force of Yang, the warmth, the life-giving force of Yang, is now beginning to give way to the contracting and cool energies of Yin. And so we all need to store up energy at this time, and that's true physically, as well as emotionally and spiritually, you know, even just storing up sunlight. So that's another video probably for another time, but we'll be asking about that in this reading for Tammy. So I wonder if I could just flip this around and kind of get me so you don't have to look at these cards all this time. As you can tell, I'm no expert at videos, but I do have fun with them. I have no idea if you're seeing me or not. I kind of feel like Tammy would like to see me while I did her reading. So I'm just going to show the reading one more time, and then I'm actually going to do a part 3 for this, since my camera doesn't let me flip around once it's started. So again, in position number 1, Tammy, if you're following along, or anybody else, we have Freedom, Hina. Remember, we're on the Ascended Masters card deck by Doreen Virtue. Love this deck. And there goes my sheets in the wind. Love the fall wind too. And position number 2, which is you now, choose peace. And position number 3, which is what you need to be focusing on, what you can harvest, is detached from drama, Pallas Athena. By the way, Tammy, if you're watching, please watch the next part, because with these oracle cards that have, you know, the words right on them, like freedom and choose peace and detach from drama. I mean, I can find those myself somewhat helpful, but they also can be limiting. So I'm going to be reading these with my psychic intuition, and not just what these words say. Sometimes the words just don't even matter at all, or they're totally irrelevant. So I'm going to figure that out in the next part of this video when I actually jump in and do the reading for you. And I hope that all of you watching this for how to will watch that part too, because you really need to see how this is done, where we're just using these cards as a, basically as a trigger or a tool for the natural psychic impulse of the psychic. So please, okay, if you're just beginning, yeah, maybe you want to pay a lot of attention to the words and read your book if you're just beginning. But ultimately, these pictures are keys. They can help you tap into your own inner psychic. And you shouldn't only be limited to the words on this. This is why I like to use tarot or my own oracle cards that I have, the spirit cards that have a lot less emphasis on the, I don't know, it's kind of like pre-gurgitated sayings. But, they can be helpful. They have their place, especially when we're first learning. But don't only think that the card means what those little words say on there. In fact, on these particular cards, I love that they have the Ascended Masters and the deities, because you can really learn a lot, you guys, by learning more about the deities and the masters that come through. So that's, I find, even more valuable. Okay, so freedom is position 1 for Tammy here, what maybe she's needing to let go of, and I'll talk more about that in the reading, because it may not be like how it sounds just by reading the card again. Choose peace is where she's at now, or maybe what she needs to be at now. Position 3 is, hey, this is the fall harvest, that what needs to be focused on. Position 4 is always to the right of where you're at now. That's your right-hand man. And that's yoga, Babaji. Position 5 is the challenge, obstacles, so on. Drink more water, Oshun. Position 6 is always 1 up from 5. And that is like, Final outcome, dominant energy pattern for this season. Take charge of the situation, Moses. And position 7, what does Tammy need to do to build up her energy reserves for the next cycle head? And here we have see the other person's point of view, and then, the feminine version of Kuan Yin, whose name I cannot pronounce ever. Okay, so that's what the actual spread looks like, and I'm going to flip over and you'll see me read this spread and hear me read this spread for Tammy. Until next time, this is Spiritual Psychic Cynthia Killian, aka Psychic Cynthia. You can find me online at cynthiakillian.com. Remember, Killian is spelled like million with a K. Or on Facebook and even on my Facebook group, Psychic Readings with Cynthia. Until then, namaste and many blessings.